This episode and every episode of the Beer Guys Radio Show is brought to you by Monger Brewing. Visit Monger at their tap room in Marietta, Georgia, or online at ironmongerbrewing.com.
Open up a tab, grab a seat, and pour a pint. It's time for the Beer Guys Radio Show.
You want free beer? Go to the brewery.
Dedicated to the art, science, and enjoyment of craft beer.
Yeah, what's wrong with the beer we got?
Now, here are your hosts, Tim Dennis and Brian Hewitt.
Welcome to the Beer Guys Radio Show. We're broadcasting from the Beer Guys Radio Studios in Marietta, Georgia. And this week we're talking with Pontoon Brewing. I'm Tim Dennis, and with me as always is my good friend and co-host, Brian Hewitt.
Hey, Tim. So joining us today, we have Sean O'Keefe, the owner and CEO of Pontoon Brewing in Sandy Springs, Georgia, and Chris Baratz, the brewmaster. We're going to talk about Pontoon's big post-pandemic plans. They got that out. Their wild program, Brownie Bash 2020, collaborations, and I think we're probably going to talk a little bit about Rainbow Smiggles. Sean and Chris, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely, guys. We're sipping some of your beers now. We wanted you to feel at home here, so we had some snacks ready for you. We got a little bowl of Skittles there.
A bowl of Skittles.
Yes,
I feel, this is
know,
perfect.
We know that's perfect for what you... And Brian's ready.
I'm prepared.
For those not familiar with Pontoon, Brian's got some Lactaid for his lactose intolerance.
That's right.
Lactoon in the house.
Lactoon in the house.
There. Guys, how have you been through all this madness out there?
It's been crazy. I think the name of the game is pivoting. You know, I feel like every day we come into the brewery and figure out, okay, so how do we change our business model again?
Sure.
Chris is just in the back getting all sorts of requests. All right, now we need more in-house stuff. Now we need to change, our previous production schedule completely, and we're doing more limiteds. And so it's been tough.
So you can do to-go beers, but you can't mail beers. I'm wondering, can you put them in a trebuchet and launch them to local? Is that considered delivery, or is that still acceptable as to-go? Yes.
Logistically, that sounds like a nightmare, but
just aim. You just gotta, fine-tune the aiming of that trebuchet.
Could be a little violent, but it might work.
Could be a little amazing.
It may get delivered to someone who didn't order it
through a window or whatever.
Right, but think of you're sitting on your couch and a six-pack just comes through the window and lands on you.
Could there be anything
it's
greater?
The best
We're
day
not
ever.
liable for the broken glass.
That's right. That's right. Absolutely. Well, Brian, again, week 4,700 of quarantine here. Actually, in Georgia, they've loosened up, man. We're back to action here in Georgia.
Yeah, we are.
Sean, have you looked at reopening yet? Is that on the agenda? Any?
No, we're gonna stay true to what the CDC recommends, and the to-go model works. Like we said, we've pivoted, and it's doing what it needs to do. We haven't furloughed anybody, we haven't laid anybody off, and so why risk that for short-term gain? We encourage all of the other businesses and breweries out there to do the same. But we're gonna keep doing what we need to do until we see things change in Georgia.
So that's sustainable on the long-term basis, the to-go situation, or is it kind of like shortish, longish term?
I think that's
for now.
That is
for now.
Yeah, shortest, longest term. That's eventually, your less revenue, your margins are different, but we've also scaled back on a lot of other things that we've been working on to kind of like streamline and make sure that we're spending money in the right places. And so, like I said, the game is pivoting because of all the things that are going on. We're constantly figuring out how we can streamline our expenses to just focus on the to-go side. And because of that, we've been able to make it work. And, Chris is really good about, getting his team to make sure they're working and not working on top of one another, doing social distancing and planning all the canning days and all that stuff out. So, we've made it work. It's not sustainable forever, but it's sustainable for a while.
And that's the thing, man. You're looking at this right now. It's like this is what it is right now, and we've got a plan in place to survive this. We don't want it to go on forever, but we're gonna survive it. And we're helping them out there, Brian. We go out and do our part on the weekends. We go out and hit some breweries. This week, Monday Night Brewing, Halfway Crooks again. We've been loving those guys so much lately. Had to get back down there. And we hit Stout Brothers, a bottle shop.
We did, yeah.
For some stuff. We got a few cans, and they had a newish one to Georgia Parish Brewing.
Yes.
The Ghost in the Machine.
Yeah.
Was up here. So we
Tasty.
got interesting. I got a pour of that. They were giving you plastic cups of it. And I got it and was waiting on Brian to check out some stuff. And I took a sip of the beer, and this guy very quickly, "Sir, please don't drink that in here." And I'm like, "I can't drink it." He's like, "No." He's like, "You have to take it outside."
We wanna
drink it."
stay
I'm like,
open,
"Wait a minute."
yeah.
I said, he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "I know it sounds backwards, but we just want to stay open." And so with things right now not being able to serve inside, the rules were you had to go out and walk around the square there and drink your
Get
beer
your steps
outside.
in.
So
Worked
I'm
out.
like, okay. All right. What have it. So, Brian, what was your favorite one this week?
Boy, it's a toss-up between Creature Comfort's Always a Pleasure, which I really enjoyed. We opened that up, and also hitting my cellar in drinking a Speedway Stout from 2013.
Nice.
Drink Your
Okay.
Cellar. Held up really well. I think we had one that was younger than that didn't hold up as well. That was very enjoyable. So, yeah, I drank an amber ale this week. I haven't had an amber ale in a while from Full Sail.
The taste
Yeah.
of the 90s is alive in Atlanta.
That's right.
So-
You know what? Nostalgia. So much nostalgia. And, of course, a Taco Tuesday on the 5th.
Of course.
Yeah.
I had Scofflaw Brewing's Los Malhechores, which I think is the malefactors is what it translates to. I guess the loose
the
translation
henchman,
of the
the bad
Scofflaws
guy,
there.
yeah.
So I had that, and I made some carnitas at home for Cinco, as a little tradition, some carnitas and a Mexican lager, so that was tasty. We saw the Blue Angels fly over. They did their
right.
Atlanta flyover, so that was really cool. And one thing we want to remind everybody, coming up is American Craft Beer Week. That is May 11th through 17th, supporting independent craft beer. Use the hashtag #GiveCraftBeer. Go to AmericanCraftBeerWeek.com. They've got some really cool stuff there where you can give beer online, pledge to give beer, and support American independent breweries.
Yeah. Well, Tim, I think it's time for the beers of the week.
Crack open a cold one. It's the Truck and Tap Beer of the Week. Craft beer and food trucks in downtown Woodstock. Truckandtap.com.
Well, Brian, as always, we have a fantastic selection of beers to get through. We brought a little bit of our Pontoon Cellar beers in here. We've got some Black Squall 2017 in there. We pregame with Creature Comforts Automatic, a pale ale that just went year-round.
Yes.
Enjoyed that. And Highland Brewing was kind enough to send us some of their Rising Haze IPA. They've been very good to us through
They have.
quarantine, and they said we want to make sure you got something to drink and keeping you happy.
We
So
have not
did
died
that.
of thirst as a result.
We have not. We've made it through. Pontoon's also got, we're currently drinking their Tropical Cluster F pound $% exclamation point. So that's a really good one. We have their Galaxy Drifter over there. We have some Dim Bones and a few others that we'll get into there. So it should be a good time. We're not going to go thirsty in the studio tonight. That's
No,
for
we're
sure.
not.
Yeah. So, Brian, what's happening this week in the news?
What's in the news? The beer guys have the scoop.
Extra, extra, read all about it.
Time for headlines.
All right, so as you said, American Craft Beer Week is also here, or almost here, the 11th through the 17th.
There we go. There we go.
I knew I could get it. I just wanted to remind people your motivation to support these craft breweries because they provide over 161,000 jobs, both full-time and part-time, and they donate annually $82 million to local charities, or about $3.10 for every barrel brewed. So get out there, AmericanCraftBeer.com. Check it out. Participate.
Absolutely.
Another cool thing, Sierra Nevada has taken the COVID-19 fight to the next level. They're donating lab time and, quote, test medium to help with tests. Without getting too deep into the tech, because I really don't understand it, test medium is something that labs create to preserve testing samples on a nose or a mouth swab. As it turns out, Sierra Nevada does something very much like this to test their beer, so not too surprising, they've got some pretty powerful lab equipment, and breweries' quality control measures involve using this high-end PCR machine to quickly evaluate and process samples. After investigating the process, Ken Grossman told the people that needed the testing, "This is easy. We do this every day." So they've started doing it. That's pretty cool. And we've got an update from the front lines of the corn syrup wars. AB InBev won the latest battle, saying that Molson Coors beers contain corn syrup in advertisements is okay. They can do it anytime they want. And this is overturning a previous ruling in Wisconsin saying that they couldn't imply it. These guys said basically your ingredients do list corn syrup, so people can say you have corn syrup. If you don't like it, be snarky back.
This has been an entertaining battle to watch. This is over a year, right?
Oh,
We're
yeah.
a
like
year and a
2
half
years?
now?
No,
So
it's
something?
a year, over a year.
Crazy stuff. The corn syrup wars, I'm sure, will continue.
Yes.
You're listening to the Beer Guys Radio Show. We do need to take a break. But we'll be back very soon to talk more with Pontoon Brewing. Is your brewery or restaurant flooring all jacked up? Your foundation needs to be protected from heat, chemicals, and other contaminants. At the same time, you want to make sure it's slip resistant and you can clean up your messes with soap and water. You know who to call?
ResTech.
We've been manufacturing poured-in-place flooring since 2002, and we've got solutions to fit any facility's needs. Go on and visit our website at
ResTech.net.
That's res-tek.net. Drop us a line and we will come to you for a free evaluation.
Oh, yeah.
Craft beer forged with a reverence for tradition and new styles that start a revolution. Monger Brewing. The brewers at Monger Brewing pride themselves at being masters of barrel-aged, hoppy, and sour beers. They invite you to their tap room in Marietta, Georgia to taste and see. Also visit their barrel room for an intimate drinking experience with great live entertainment. Keep up to date on all things Ironmonger by liking them on Facebook. Ironmonger Brewing, establishing a new standard in craft beer.
Follow the Beer Guys on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
I believe you have my stapler.
Now, back to the Beer Guys radio show.
Welcome back to the Beer Guys Radio Show. Remember, all episodes are available on demand, so if you missed the broadcast, get the podcast. Beer Guys Radio is available on all popular podcasting apps. Now let's get back to our talk with Pontoon Brewing.
Chris, in just a moment, I'm going to ask you a question about this delicious beer we're drinking. But, Brian, I got a news story I want to share that we missed. Just some good news because everything is so lawsuit and coronavirus.
Yeah, it
now.
is, yes.
Yakima Chief Hops did a Pink Boots blend of hops this year to help support the Pink Boots Society, which is Women in Brewing. They raised $117,807 for the Pink Boots Society with that hop blend, and that news just came out recently. So shout out to Yakima Chief Hops and the Pink Boots Society.
And that blend is usually available for everybody to use, right?
I believe they sell it to everyone. They make a hop blend available out there for you to buy and use. So
very cool.
Absolutely, yeah, good stuff. Now, Chris, for you, we are currently drinking your Soul Crusher, which is a Mexican lager, Vienna lager. This is coming back. This is the second year you said you took out. The last iteration of this had prickly pear and
lime, yes.
And lime. Okay.
And we found that the fruit didn't add enough to the beer to make it worth doing. It actually detracted pretty heavily from the beer. So this go round, we decided to go for the Vienna lager base that we enjoyed up until the point where we added the fruit last time. And it's gone over a lot better so far.
This is phenomenal, man. I needed this earlier this week on Cinco to go along with my Los Malhechores.
Yeah, there you go.
and my my carnitas, because this is fantastic, man. Just, nice grain note, really pretty beer. And for those that don't know, because someone on Reddit earlier this week had mentioned they didn't know Vienna lager was associated with Mexico. And, I think it was the War of Mexican, I'm going to misquote this if I say it. But anyhow, German and Austrian immigrants moved to Mexico, and a lot of the beer they brewed was, the Vienna-style lagers. And at one period, you found more Vienna lagers in Mexico than in Vienna. And although we know Corona and beers like that as being Mexican lagers now, the real deal, get you some Vienna lager. Dos Equis.
That sounds like bro science to me, Tim.
It's not. It is not. I can.
Okay.
I can give you references.
I believe it's spelled S-O-L. I believe the S-O-L actually means sun. Is that right? Or am I wrong?
Correct.
It's a sun crusher.
The Sun Crusher.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Sounds like soul, but it's actually sun.
Soul, right. Not S-O-U-L.
Yes.
Just S-O-L. Which also has
Important
another
point.
meaning.
Yes.
Well, guys, thanks for joining us. We appreciate it. You're our first guest back in the studio. And for those listening, we're being very safe here. Sean has these gloves on. We have masks. We have everything sanitized. We got hand sanitizer, and we'd normally be passing glasses around, but we are not doing that. And Pontoon actually makes sanitizer, taking care of that out there.
Brought
so
a
being
little
the
bit
good
today.
guys there. But yeah, thanks so much for joining us. We talked a little bit about kind of how you're handling all this COVID-19 stuff. You guys have been doing a lot of online interactivity, correct?
Yeah. I'm going to give a shout out to Shannon. She does all of our marketing, and she, really headed that up. And, at first was very innovative with the types of things that we're doing. And so she's out there every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at generally around 7 p.m. And we do things from trivia all the way to bringing on other breweries. Like 2 weeks ago, we had Listerman on because they're going to be at Brownie Bash, and we did a collaboration with them. And then, we also, this last one, we did the...
We've added a game night. So we're doing Jackbox games.
Yep. And
those are awesome.
Beer ideas.
Those are fun.
A lot of fun.
I was going to ask you about
I just saw that recently, yeah.
You had a thing where you were asking people for their ideas on sours. Did you get some good ideas?
We got a bunch of great ideas, actually.
It was awesome.
It was a lot more, productive than I expected. I thought we were just going to be hanging out drinking, but we ended up with
nothing wrong with
a
that.
full page of ideas.
Taking
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's great.
We filled up 2025.
Yeah.
Now, okay. Now, Brian didn't see me tag him in this post, but you had a meme going around. There's a meme format that's called the Prove Me Wrong meme. And this one said, tomato belongs in beer.
I did see that.
Prove me wrong.
Yeah.
So,
I'm not going to try to prove them wrong.
I said Brian would agree with this. So, can you tell us what instigated that? We got some tomato, sour tomato.
We were discussing different cocktail-inspired beers, and Bloody Marys obviously came up. The majority of people were not a fan of the idea of tomatoes in the beer. But myself and Shannon were actually strong proponents. So.
We're on there with you.
You're a Michelada guy,
I love a Michelada, man. I will tear them up. We went to Terrapin did their wake and bake brunch. Brian and I were judges there the last couple years. And they didn't have it this year, but the year before they actually had a Michelada bar, just like your Bloody Mary bar. I'll tear them up, man. I'm all about a good one. Sure.
I'm all about making sure that it's in the right style. So, a lager like that, it would be pretty good. I think a saison with like French saison yeast, like
I agree.
those
The
ester
French,
profile.
I think that would fit better. Sure.
I think that would be really cool with like some sun-dried tomatoes. We've talked about doing stuff like that, which Pontoon, we're weird. We're gonna make it work. But it's not off the table.
People don't realize that sun-dried tomatoes are a lot different than the tomatoes you get on a hamburger. They can have like a
little
sweet
raisin.
raisin.
Yeah, they're sweet. They have a little smoky. They can provide some really good flavor. Actually, Wild Heaven did for the Tomato Fest. Yeah, and it was really good. It was their White Blackbird.
I missed that. I wanted to try that.
It was very good. So, there's some haters out there for it, but, there are haters out there for lactose, so why not just do it?
I got to give them the recipe for Johnny Saison.
Saison.
Just make it professionally so I can see it again.
Sun-dried tomato and basil.
Hey, Beer Guys Radio collaboration. Let's do it.
It's time to do it, man.
Yes,
We've been
let's
doing
do it. All right.
You're good friends with Bridge Patel.
Yes, we are.
Berry Bottle Shop. You guys have done collabs, and then we had Bridge on a few months ago, I guess. I lose track of time. It could have been a year ago.
We're just in days right now.
But Bridge was on, and he mentioned, he's like, we all need to get together and do a collaboration. So we need to follow up and make that happen.
Absolutely.
Maybe it's the Bloody Mary beer.
Yeah.
That's it, man. We could do it. Sure enough,
Could
man.
be.
If anybody could sell it, it'd be that dude.
As we're coming together here, Brian was pondering, and Brian, you wanted to know actually how much lactose and fruit is in the hand sanitizer.
I was, that was one of my questions. Like how much lactose is in that? How much fruit is in?
It's a proprietary recipe. There
go.
may or may not be. I cannot confirm or deny if there is lactose or fruit in this.
A splash of milk in every bottle.
But the bottom line is it meets the requirements to sanitize.
It does. It does. Yes.
Well, guys, you were telling us about you've kind of got a new model coming up where you're looking at kind of 6 months ahead. Is that right? What's the plan for Pontoon?
Yeah, so there's a new movement away from cores. People want new. We live in Rotation Nation. And so we went to our distributor and we said, hey, look, we've got all these ideas. We want to do all these new beers. Like, we can do the hard work, which is coming up with the labels, the ideas, executing them. Will you sell them? And so we reached an agreement and figured it out. And so for about the last 6 months, Pontoon puts out 3 to 4 new limited beers in the market every single month, which is hell on earth for Chris and his back-of-house staff.
Go, Chris, go.
Fully understand that. But, he also enjoys it because it's a way for us to experiment with things that we like. We do a lot of fruited sours. We do a lot of new fun items, some newer styles and some old traditional styles too.
It really speeds up the development process, where before, you would work on the same beer for multiple months.
Sure.
We're working on so many new beers, we're able to hone it in very quickly.
So what did you have to do to dial it in? And the clock is never our friend.
It is not.
But how hard is it to take that and kind of pull it into a tighter time frame?
It's a challenge for sure. But because we're doing so many, it kind of smooths out the ratio of wins to losses there.
You get some building blocks that you can use, right? It's like,
Definitely.
hey, we're going to do this, but we know already these pieces work.
Right.
So you don't reinvent the wheel every time that way, right?
Yeah, we're definitely doing variations on what we've enjoyed in the previous beers.
Okay, that makes sense, man. Keep some
absolutely.
new stuff coming out there, but have a little fun with it. Yeah. You're listening to the Beer Guys Radio Show. We do need to take a break, but we'll be back very soon with more from Pontoon Brewing.
Have you ever thought about owning your own brewery but don't know what it takes to get one built? We're Storytime Construction, and we build breweries. We're Georgia's most experienced and hands-on contractors when it comes to building new breweries and tap rooms, or expanding existing breweries. We offer full build-outs, remodeling, and additions, as well as consulting and construction management. Give us a call at 770-733-4343. Storytime Construction. We build breweries.
Brian and Tim, the Beer Guys. If you're like us, no lunch or dinner is complete without a pint or two of craft beer.
Which is why Truck and Tap in downtown Woodstock, Alpharetta, and Duluth are always on our list. Tim, why do they call it Truck and Tap?
Well, the tap part is easy, Brian. They've got 18 of them.
As for the truck part, that's where it gets interesting. Truck and Tap features your favorite Atlanta area food trucks, so you're getting a different menu every day.
Truck and Tap in downtown Woodstock, Alpharetta, and Duluth.
Truckandtap.com. Let them know that the Beer Guys sent you.
Follow the Beer Guys on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Strange things are afoot at the Circle K.
Now, back to the Beer Guys Radio Show.
Welcome back to the Beer Guys Radio Show. I want to give a quick shout out to one of our great radio affiliates, WRMN 1410 AM in Elgin, Illinois. Catch Beer Guys Radio on WRMN every Saturday at noon local time. Now let's get back to our conversation with Pontoon Brewing.
Sean, Chris, once again, thank you for joining us. We've been drinking through quite a few of your beers here. We've got into your Tropical Cluster F fruited sour there, very good. Galaxy Drifter IPA, the Soul Crusher SOL Mexican Lager, Vienna Lager, and we've just opened a Fruit Cup. What fruits are in Fruit Cup?
So this is key lime and raspberry.
Key lime and raspberry. Okay, very tasty. Just really good. I love these fruited sour beers, man.
The color looks more raspberry than key lime. I'm guessing key lime is a hard color to capture in a beer.
Yeah, key lime is not nearly as strong of a color as raspberry.
And
yeah,
yet
raspberry's
it
going to
comes through-
dominate that one.
And yet the key lime comes through pretty heavy on
It does kind of pop in there. Yeah, I
Yeah.
get that
Yeah.
citrus in there. Definitely. Yeah.
It's I love this beer more than a lot of our sours in that it is very tart. This is a very tart beer. I like the jaw clenching sours, and this is not there, but it's pretty close. We had a couple people on Untapped going, "Oh, this is too sour for a sour beer," which is always comical.
You never make everyone happy. Like I saw, I've seen people try, because a Leipziger style Goza is actually fairly, I would say, tart rather than really sour. It's lightly tart, but a lot of people, and we've said this several times on the show, especially here in the South, their first introduction to a Goza is Westbrook.
Yeah.
Which is going to knock your teeth out of your mouth.
Right.
With how sour it is.
It's basically sour seawater.
It's just
honestly.
crazy, man. So once you try something like a Leipziger style that has that lighter, I think Maverick from Second Self, their first run of it was Leipziger style, and they had to redo it and make it more sour because it didn't hit where people wanted it there.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's you really got to find that balance. Everyone jokes about lactoon, but one of my favorite reasons of using lactose in our sours is it does kind of balance it out. It hits it hits hard with the sour, but then it kind of dials back on the finishing note, and it allows you to have another sip. So you can get really sour, really tart, but still have that like finish where it kind of like cuts it off.
Right. We can't go through this show and not talk a little bit about Rainbow Smiggles.
Let's do it.
And that's why we had a nice glass of Skittles for you guys.
Yeah, I've been picking at them since we got here.
We had to do that. But you guys got a lot of press for that one. I mean, it really made the rounds. We had Skittles and Trix and fruit in this beer.
Yeah.
So it made the big rounds. Now, I'm going to say this. I gave you guys a little grief online, all in fun, just
Sure.
BSing with you. I did think, I'm like, all right, guys, we're getting a little far here. Cereal, candy, and all that. But when I drank the beer, it was fairly balanced. I got the feeling of a fruity sour that finished like you were drinking the cereal milk out of Trix.
Yeah.
It was kind of what I'm like, you know what? I dig this. I'm okay with it. So, but you guys do, and this was actually, for those that don't know, I believe it's from, don't you call it your Serious series?
Our Serious series.
Yeah, right. Okay.
We got one right here.
So super
Tropical
cereal.
Cluster F. Yeah, super cereal.
Super cereal.
Yeah, I mean when we were talking about the idea of Rainbow Smiggles, it's like, what can we do to bring these different ingredients into beer? But at the same time, I think people think Pontoon, we just create these like crazy concoctions. We really go for beer to still taste like beer. We ferment out our fruit. With the Skittles, I mean, we put it in the fermenter with the fruit. So, I mean, it's not going to be this sugary, overload. It's funny when we see people that are like, oh, it's overly sweet. I'm like, well, that beer finished really low Plato. There's no way it's super sweet.
It was not super sweet.
Yeah.
And that was one. I expected it to be cloying.
Yeah.
With cereal and candy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
it was a nice tart. Yeah.
It was tart
Yeah.
and not overly sweet.
you got all the flavors of it without it being over the top. And that's what we try to do with all of our beers. We want it to be approachable and a balance, and that includes being too sweet, too over fruited, too whatever. Something we take pride in is the level of fruit we put in our beers. We could put 2 more pounds per gallon of fruit in there, and we do on some of our in-house stuff.
Or 4 more boxes of cereal.
And yet we don't, because we want it to still be beer at the end of the day. We brew beer.
That's kind of something I've commented on before, because, and one I always give as an example, Brian, Push Pop from Cherry Street Brewing.
Oh, yeah.
Delicious orange creamsicle. I drank a couple of those at the brew pub one time, and I'm like, man, this is delicious. I love this. But after
That's
halfway
Cherry
through the
Street, by
second
the
one
way.
at Cherry Street Brewing, after the second one, I'm like, but I don't taste any beer
Is
in
it
this.
beer, though?
This is just kind of an alcoholic push pop. It's an
Yeah, it
alcoholic
kind of is.
liquid push pop. Tasty, but I do like in these fruited beers, let me know I've got a good beer under there. You know? Let me know I've got a good beer under there. I want your fruit and your lactose and your cereals and your candies and all that to complement
Correct.
the beer you're brewing with.
Yeah, we got some for Rainbow Smiggles. I mean, most people really liked it. It's got a great rating on Untapped. People liked it across the board, but the people that did criticize it, they said it wasn't anything special or whatever.
I saw
But,
that. Right.
Yeah, they were expecting it to be this sugar bomb, and we're not going to do that.
I think it was special in the fact that it wasn't exactly what I expected, and it was a proper beer with interesting flavor that all kind of worked. I was surprised at how it worked. I'm intrigued. How did that the whole concept for that come about? Were you looking at Skittles and say, we've got to make
We've
this
got
into
to
a
do
beer.
this.
We've got to
gotta
make
do
a beer with this. Hold on, I've got a bag. I got a thing of Trix too. We got to make this together. Where did that come from?
So we have a beer planning meeting, and somebody pitched the concept of a cereal beer. And initially, it was going to be a cereal glitter beer. I had recently just come back from CBC, where we went to a arcade bar that were giving out free Skittles shots, Skittles vodka shots,
good.
with all your cover fees. And it was great. So I said, okay, if we have to do a Trix cereal glitter beer, I'm throwing Skittles in there as well.
Nice.
We're going balls to the wall there. And, that's kind of how it came about. It was a bit of a flippant response to being asked to make a beer that I thought was ridiculous.
What happened to the glitter? I mean, now I feel shortchanged. I didn't get glitter in it.
I looked into the glitter, and it was not cost effective.
Okay. All right.
It's a perfect example of Was it worth it?
It was not worth it. It was
I
not
got
worth
you.
it.
So I've got to ask this, guys. Since cereal and candy has happened in a beer, what ideas have happened in your planning meetings that got vetoed, that didn't make it?
Currently, most of the savory flavors.
Okay.
Savory flavors come up pretty often. Vinegar and, meat flavors. And these are ones that don't really seem to jive well, in my opinion,
Okay.
of what is a good beer.
That's fair.
All right.
And
all right.
those are the ones that usually don't make the cut.
So we will not see any sheep-stung smoked whale testicle
That's-
beers from you
that's
guys
unfortunate,
anytime
man.
soon.
Not until we get up to 10 limiteds a month, and then we're going to have to do
Then
that.
you got to throw some of that in there. Yeah.
Because we have had that beer, Tim.
Called
yeah.
the Beefeater series.
That's a Beefeater.
The Beefeater series, man. Got to have fun with it.
Oh, man.
So what are some trends that are coming up, guys, that you're excited about? What are you seeing on the horizon there?
I think, one of the things that's coming back that's trendy is just coming back to the traditional roots of beer. And I love that. Everyone jokes about Pontoon and Lactoon and all that stuff. But, what a lot of people don't know is I started homebrewing original styles. And that's what I still love to do. We have Galaxy. A lot of people talk about our other beers. We've got a lot of traditional styles. And so, the Halfway Crooks and the Arches of the world have allowed us to come back to those and put them back out.
The resurgence of the lager.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's what we're excited about.
You know what? I knew something was coming with these beers. IPL tried to happen. No one bought into it. People didn't like that. Pale lager didn't hit it. When you started categorizing them as a dry hop lager, people are like, oh, dry hopped? I'm about that.
I like that.
It
Yeah.
opened those gates, man. That was the crossover that needed to happen to get people out there. Absolutely. We're listening to the Beer Guys Radio Show. We do need to take another break, but make sure to come back. We're going to have a big announcement from Pontoon Brewing.
As a brewery owner or taproom manager, are you looking for ways to enhance your customer experience while maximizing your revenues? Craft Cellar is a mobile solution that helps your brewery drive sales and attract new customers through online pre-sales for beer releases, events, and memberships. Get details now at craftcellar.com. Mention Beer Guys Radio after sign up and extend your free trial to a full 30 days. Remember craftcellar.com, craftcellr.com. As beer lovers, we know real beer, and Athletic Brewing makes non-alcoholic beer that stands shoulder to shoulder with full-strength craft beer. With a fraction of the calories and certified organic, it's a great beer to enjoy anytime. Check out Athletic's selection of IPAs, golden ales, stouts, and more at athleticbrewing.com. Use code BeerGuys25 for 25% off your first order, and U.S. customers get free nationwide shipping. Athletic Brewing, brew without compromise.
Follow the Beer Guys on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Boy, that escalated quickly. I mean, that really got out of hand fast.
Now, back to the Beer Guys Radio Show.
Welcome back to the Beer Guys Radio Show. If you enjoy the show, please consider supporting us on Patreon. Just go to patreon.com/beerguys. Patrons get cool perks like Beer Guys swag, commercial-free episodes, and even bonus episodes that aren't available anywhere else. But now let's get back to Pontoon Brewing.
Pontoon Brewing, we've had a fantastic time chatting with you here, drinking your beers, reminiscing about old things. During the break, we were talking about old school concerts.
Yes.
And going there. Just good stuff. But we've got a big announcement that we don't want to miss. There's plenty we could talk about. But, Sean, you've got a big announcement about Pontoon Brewing.
Yeah. So, we've been open for 2 years, and we recently hit capacity at our brew capacity. We're one of the fastest growing breweries in the country, according to the Brewers Association, and we decided we needed a true production space. So we are in lease negotiations with a location. Can't give too many details about it, but we are looking to open on the West Side Beltline in Atlanta.
West Side Beltline. They're down in that basic area. I'm not sure exactly where you guys are going to be, but that's a pretty good little beer spot down there.
Malt Disney. That's what it's
Malt
called.
Disney.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So that. And when did you say the target to get down that way is?
Should be this time next year, between April and June of next year. We are looking to open up a 20,000 foot big ceiling, big production brewery. We're growing fast and moving into multiple states. We just signed on with Louisiana and Florida. We've been putting into North Carolina. We're talking to South Carolina. We're about to send beer up to Boston. We're looking to send our beer out quite a few places, and in order to do that, we need more capacity.
Got to make more beer, right?
That's a bit of a jump all the way up to Boston.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Chris, you ready for this, man?
I'm looking forward to it.
Good stuff.
Our buddies over at Parrish were the ones that put us in contact with the guys over at Boston. So we're excited about that.
So I'm curious. I'm sure these plans have been in the works for a while. What has the current situation done to these plans? Are they pushed back? Would you have opened it by now, or was it always going to be like around this time next year or so?
It was about this time next year. In fact, if anything, with everything that's been going on, we've had some good leverage situations. We've been able to get some good quotes on equipment. People are looking to get some business in. So, I mean, it's actually worked out in our favor. We've had some small delays, but it's mostly because of the banks with the payroll protection loans. They just are focusing on getting that underwriting done first, and then they'll get back to our big loan that we're working on right now.
Yeah, we've actually had more time for planning than we would have otherwise.
We've got a friend that is in the early build-out stage in Fort Worth. Neutral Ground Brewing Company. Look those guys up. They're in the process down there. A good friend of ours, Stan Hudson, is one of the owners. But he was just saying that the process just basically shut down. They were going through their SBA loan process and in the final stages, and they're like, we just don't have time now.
Can't complete the paperwork, yeah.
And, there's a lot of people in that position right now with breweries that they were going through it, and he's like, I'm too far into this to back out of it, but I need these funds to move forward with it. So,
yeah, it definitely, we have great relationships with our bank, Ameris, and they were very transparent. They were saying, hey, look, we're going through this crisis. We're going to have to be a little bit more flexible about the timeline, which we told them we're fine with too. We're flexible and we understand what the long-term goal is. So they've been great working with us, and they were expedient on our payroll protection loan. So
good.
So
okay.
we once again have not furloughed or laid anybody off, and now that we have the payroll protection loan in, we are good for a couple extra months.
And I sure am hoping that within another couple months we're going to be getting back. Monday Night did a survey. Monday Night Brewing did a survey.
Fantastic survey.
Just fantastic information there. But I will say this, and I think we commented this last week, Brian, that people are saying, look, I don't expect to go back till mid to late June or whatever.
Yeah.
If we saw numbers really drop, and people would loosen up a little bit more.
They would.
Now. So
yeah,
they're going to follow the trend.
We're coming up on mid-May, so I guess we're only talking a month down the road. But
that is true.
Yeah.
So we teased it a little bit ahead of time, like your Wild program. You want to talk about your Wild program? Tell us a little bit about what's happening with that.
Yeah. So I'll start off by saying, with us having two spaces, we're going to divide up both of our spaces. One space is going to be working on clean beer and the production side, and so our current location in Sandy Springs is going to be focused on our Wild program, which we've already started. And I'll let Chris take over and kind of talk about what we've got going on there.
Sure. So we've been developing our barrel age program. We've been harvesting wild yeasts for the last 6 months to a year, and we've been developing 3 to 4 house strains that we're enjoying and trying to propagate. So the idea will be that we'll fine-tune our favorite strains of the ones that we're playing with right now and come out with a nice variety of wild beers, mixed fermentation beers based on those cultures.
Yeah. We had a beer medal last year at the U.S. Open for a mixed culture farmhouse, and so we've got we had another one come out for our anniversary, a mixed fermentation dry hop pilsner, which was really fun. Faith On came out, and we've got a couple wilds that are coming out soon. We've got double cup purple stuffs, the sour version of that, wild version of that's coming out, which we're excited about. We got a wild snaz coming out. Chris and I have been working on several farmhouses and wilds that are in production. We just ordered 2 puncheons, 2 92-gallon big giant red wine barrels that have like fittings on them too, so you're able to continue to use them over time. So I mean, it's something we're really passionate about. Everyone, like I said, everyone thinks pontoon, lactoon, but the wild program is something that we're really interested in.
I mean, you can fit a lot of Skittles in a large food.
You can.
We can.
Man.
Can you call double cup the wild version of it feral cup? Because I kind of feel like that should be it. Feral cup.
I don't even know why we let you in here anymore,
I know.
Brian.
I'm full of bad ideas, and I always give them up. And every now and then,
filter the bad ideas till you get to the good ideas.
Exactly,
I like it.
Right. Exactly.
Keep throwing darts till you hit the bullseye. Right. I want to talk stouts. We've been talking about all these. We've actually gotten into your Black Squall 2017, which was your grand opening beer, right? At your brewery here.
It was.
So we're sipping on that, a little vintage, but you've done a lot.
Hashtag drink your cellar.
Hashtag drink your cellar. Brownie Batter.
Yes.
I think that's an important one to talk about. Very popular beer you've done a few iterations of, and you got a big festival coming up with it, correct?
Yeah, we're super excited. We partnered with the Bottle Share, Chris over at the Bottle Share. They're actually putting on the festival, and we are, partnering up with it. We got to, work with the current laws that are in place, but we've got an amazing guest tap brewery list. So basically, what we did is we took Brownie Bash last year, which was comprised of collaborations, and we opened it up to guest breweries. So we have people like Parrish, people like Corporate Ladder, people like Mortalis up in New York. We've got Listerman up in Ohio, Urban South in New Orleans. There are several big name breweries that we're going to hold off, and we're going to
a little bit of tease right now. We'll let you know about the rest of them later,
exactly.
Right?
There's some really big name breweries that we're talking to right now that are committed, and we're just excited that people think that our stout is quality enough to be associated with this festival. It's the highest rated beer in the last 4 years on Beer Connoisseur, the barrel aged blend that we did. And so I'm very excited for this year's blend, which is going to be a barrel. It's batch 1, 2, and 3, which batch 2 is over 2 years old at this point. So we've got, a blend of batch 1, batch 2, batch 3 that's going to go into it with different spirit barrels. And then we're going to do a bunch of variants of it, and it's going to be great.
It sounds like a good one. I've enjoyed the Brownie Batter batches. Brownie Batter batches that have been brewed in the
alliteration.
past.
It makes you come back.
Say that in the
get
fourth
that
segment.
all together. Yeah. Well, guys, we're getting close here. Got about a minute or so left. Is there anything else you want folks to know about Pontoon Brewing?
I mean, the Brownie Bash Festival, we really think that that's going to be something that we want to expand upon in years to come. We're going to get bigger and more fun breweries on board, and it's going to be something that, we want to make the biggest festival, the best festival in Georgia.
So, guys, if people want to keep up with what's happening at Pontoon, now and in the future, where should they go?
All of our social medias, Facebook, Instagram, our website. We're constantly posting new things and fun things on there. Craft Cellar, shout out to Craft Cellar. We're putting beers on there and on our website.
Good stuff, guys. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Cheers, guys.
Absolutely. That about wraps it up for this episode of the Beer Guys Radio Show. Make sure to join us next week as we talk with Asheville's Dissolver Brewing. For more craft beer info, follow us online. We are Beer Guys Radio on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great week, and don't forget to drink local. Cheers.